Hi, everyone. Welcome to the latest in our e-commerce news of the week series. Really happy to be here. My name is Andrew Weber. I'm the Director of Insights here at Ecommerce, and joined as always by our esteemed group of e-commerce analyst leaders here. We have Ryan Walker, who's our Senior Director of Client Strategy, Laura Pattison, who's our Manager of E-commerce Strategy out on the West Coast, Megan Gleason, and Kelsey Robb, both team leads here in e-commerce strategy on the East Coast in Boston. So welcome everybody, and have a lot to get through here. So let's just get right to it. Why don't we? So first thing we're going to talk about is Walmart dropping their minimum budget thresholds. This was a news that actually just dropped yesterday, so very fresh here. Thought we'd add it to the program. Then get more Walmart Plus, which also just launched 2 days ago, and it's some very exciting kind of future potential for that one. Amazon's launching some early Black Friday deals in the EU and maybe some potential for the US, although that's kind of up in the air. Walmart, this is a big story that's been going kind of even outside the e-commerce space, is Walmart kind of getting deep into talks with TikTok, and it's kind of centering on advertising in that realm. And finally, there were some questions actually on a prior webinar of us around these iOS 14 privacy changes and how they're going to impact advertising. So we're going to talk about that a little bit as well. So just before we get started, quick notes: you will receive a recording of this call, everyone on here, after it, along with links to all the stories we're going to be talking about here. And additionally, if you want to follow along, we're live tweeting this entire webinar. If you just follow at Ecommerce, you'll see the tweets go up there, and feel free to join in the conversation. So with that, getting to Walmart. So advertiser, this is again brand new. They just emailed this out to some of the partners yesterday, and so this is now effective as of September 2. Originally, these budgets were, it was $1,000 minimum for a campaign budget and $100 daily, and they've cut those down significantly. So now, essentially on Walmart, you can launch a sponsored product campaign with a maximum budget commitment as low as $100, or if you're doing it on a daily budget basis, even as low as $50. So again, this is, it cut 90% in the context of the total campaign budget amounts, and half in terms of the daily budget. So what this really does is, if you're, let's say, a smaller brand that's selling on Walmart, it makes it a lot easier to kind of get up and running on sponsored products on Walmart. And also, if, let's say, you want to test something maybe on a much smaller range, you at least have that flexibility to do so a lot more than with some of the commitments you had before. So, and in another way, this gets Walmart sponsored products a little closer to Amazon sponsored products from a functionality perspective. And this goes on top of some of the prior changes we saw around automatic campaigns and having keyword reports based on them. Initially, when Walmart launched sponsored products, you wouldn't get those keyword specific reports kind of coming off of automatic campaigns. Those are now unveiled. And additionally, they're working on things like negative keywords, which again is something that I know a lot of advertisers are looking for, and I know they're working on this. So definitely a big development, especially if you're kind of maybe hesitant to get started on Walmart sponsored products. This is it's a lower barrier to entry, and great especially for kind of smaller brands. So thought that was worth calling out. Definitely check it out, and if you're selling on Walmart, another reason to look into that. So moving on, I think in more Walmart, just because this kind of dovetails, they're scaling up e-commerce in such a big way right now, is Walmart Plus. So this was an announcement just a few days ago that Walmart Plus is going to be going live on the 15th, and there's a lot of stuff here. Originally, this was kind of planned. People thought this was going to be just a out-and-out Amazon Prime competitor immediately. It's a little more focused on grocery for the time being. But there's a lot of implications here kind of going forward. And I guess, throwing that to the panel, what do you guys see as kind of the biggest takeaways here from this launch?
Yeah, thank you, Andrew. This announcement is interesting. At first you would think, okay, they're just trying to play against Amazon and Amazon Prime. If you look at the numbers, I think it's more competitive with Instacart Express, especially when you consider what it's actually giving subscribers, which is access to free delivery for orders that are over $35 for items that are in a Walmart physical store. And that delivery time frame can be, 2-day, it could be next day. You may have the option to pick a delivery time frame if you're doing grocery, of course. But the fulfillment center is really the Walmart store, and the item selection is really limited to what's in the Walmart store. So I think in the press release, they cited a figure of 160,000 items as your possible selection, or slightly more than that. That's very different than the millions of products that are available on Amazon for free 2-day shipping without a shipping threshold. So, just the way the comparison goes, and Walmart explicitly says don't make this comparison, it's really not the same thing as Amazon Prime. It seems to be more geared towards people that are doing their grocery shopping regularly, that need their health and household like basics every week or couple of weeks throughout the month, and they want to get it delivered. They don't want to go to the store, and they want like an easier, more convenient way to conduct that shopping experience. And just as a point of comparison, Instacart is $99 a year. Walmart Plus is $98. Instacart Express is a $35 order minimum. And if you choose to not opt for these, subscription packages, the order delivery charges are exactly the same. It's $8 for delivery for Walmart, or it would be $8 if you go through Instacart. So it really seems like those things are what Walmart is trying to compete for, is that grocery delivery business, which is really interesting in that they're really not, with this offering, trying to get an advantage on their e-commerce business. It's really that store to home delivery. There are some other benefits like scan and go pay, which could be somewhat similar to Amazon Go's technology, and then you scan the stuff that you're buying and then kind of just theoretically walk out of the store. I don't know if there's like a cash register involved that you have to check out in, like we see at Target, or Stop and Shop sometimes does this. But it could be a payment method that has less friction, and then there's like gas discounts as well. So they're trying to throw in a couple of extra things to bundle past offers together in a new way, which is interesting. But I really see this as like an effort to enhance their grocery delivery business.
Yeah, and it'll be interesting to see where they go next with this. I doubt this is kind of the last story on Walmart Plus, and you could see them kind of expanding this. But this, they're taking the dive on grocery, and you can kind of see why, because when you actually look at, these are numbers from July, but they were, Amazon was seeing grocery sales triple, and I think, obviously given the current climate, you're seeing, Walmart obviously want to put a stake in the ground here and try to get as much of that volume as possible. Because Amazon was looking, they supposedly increased their grocery delivery capacity by 160%. There's a lot here, so this is a big market that obviously we're going after.
Well, and it might be a strategic decision as well to go with less selection but faster ship times. Like if they can guarantee customers, hey, I'm going to get you the thing that you want. It might not be the exact brand you want, but the thing you need in 2 days, while Amazon's fulfillment centers are backed up, they can't get stuff into the warehouse or out of the warehouse. Walmart could end up winning really big with this, even with less selection.
Yeah, great point. So moving right along and going back to Amazon. So this is something that just dropped late last month, and e-commerce Bytes reported on it. This was something that was actually seen on a UK seller board, and based on communications directly from Amazon, which was specifically kind of what they call early Black Friday deals that are going to be running from late October kind of through mid-November. And FBA sellers are going to have their inventory they need to have it to them really by November 6th. So obviously time is of the essence here. Not clear if they're going to offer the same in the US, but obviously some interesting promotion here by Amazon. I'm not sure what the panel has to say here.
Yeah, it's funny. The last time we did this panel, we were in the midst of Prime Day in India, and now we have UK and EU updates from Amazon, and still nothing around Prime Day in the US. So that is still TBD. Amazon is keeping pretty close lips on that, but this is a really interesting kind of change of pace from Amazon. One, extending the Black Friday deals. We've seen e-commerce trend this way in the past few years, away from the specific Black Friday and Cyber Monday and more of a Cyber Week or 2-week period where people can purchase items on sale. So in that regard, it's not that crazy to extend that window. But what is really interesting is that you don't have to be a Prime member in order to take advantage of these discounts. So I'm thinking, as a Prime member, I'm paying for that. Why should I even bother? So my guess is that Amazon has something up their sleeve that will maybe entice some people to join the Prime family after this, or maybe using this as some sort of test on a broader scale to see the impact of what it looks like when you don't have a member specific discount. But it's really interesting. The early Black Friday deal actually starts at the end of October. So I know there's already Halloween stuff in grocery stores, which is a little early, but it sounds like Amazon is jumping on the Thanksgiving bandwagon even earlier. Of course, Thanksgiving holiday being a US-based holiday, but the whole world takes place in the Black Friday, Cyber Monday side of things. But then thinking from more of a seller and vendor standpoint, this is again something that you have to work into your Q4 budgets, where you might spend the majority of your ad spend on just Black Friday or Cyber Monday. Before you have to think about how you want to extend that. Do you want to focus perhaps at the beginning of the sales cycle and try to capture people who are searching early? Do you want to make sure that you have ads running in full along that that main weekend between Black Friday and Cyber Monday? So that's another twist in the Q4 plot, where we might have Prime Day in early October and then lead right into a three-week period for Black Friday. That's a lot of money to be spent for all of the impressions from the increased traffic on Amazon. So think about budgeting, and also just think about ad coverage. Amazon has continued to enhance what they have from an ad perspective with sponsored products, sponsored brands video, sponsored display. So making sure any products that you have submitted for this deal are included across the board so that you can get as many impressions as possible. And it's also kind of a DSP play here. If we do have that Prime Day in early October and we have this 3-week lead time up to theoretically the biggest sales weekend of the year, using DSP to capture that audience, anyone who might not have purchased earlier on in Q4 could still be looking for those products when it comes to the end of that sales cycle. So being able to use the different levers within DSP and really specifically fine tune that audience, also a great opportunity from an ad perspective.
Great, thanks, Kelsey. That's some great thoughts there. So, yeah, I mean, it really will be interesting to see if they does Amazon try something similar, whether it's right around this in kind of a pre-Black Friday, or maybe even that between Black Friday and Christmas, maybe they're trying something there. It seems like they're using this opportunity to test a lot of different stuff. So,
Kelsey, I'm curious too. Did you think anything about, like, just this prompted, what does it look like this year with COVID? Like, are more people, I'm assuming, are shipping to loved ones rather than traveling to them? That is likely lower this year. So is Amazon one of the easiest routes to purchase and have it shipped to your family's house if you're unable to fly across the country, in my specific instance, to see them? So I'm curious too if Amazon's trying to capture that even earlier than other channels and get ahead of that.
Yeah, that's actually a really good point, especially when you think back to April, June, May, June timeframe when Amazon's shipping was a little bit delayed. This extra 3-week window does give them a little bit more leeway into getting those shipments delivered on time. It also gives them the opportunity to push more products into their warehouses earlier. They're asking for everything for Black Friday to be in by November 6th. So I can imagine it's even earlier for anyone who wants to do that Black Friday sale starting October 26th. So it's definitely, it sounds like it could be a play for Amazon to kind of get ahead of the craziness of the holiday shopping season. And I definitely think that we'll see a huge influx of ship direct to the recipient instead of the ship to yourself and then either deliver in person or mail to them from your own home. So that's a really good point, Laura.
That's a good point about the alleviating the warehouses. I hadn't even thought about that aspect. That's definitely a big one this year.
Great. Yeah. Gonna be one to watch. That's for sure. All right. So the big story, I think this was originally reported in the Wall Street Journal. We've got the ad exchanger piece here, which obviously went a little deeper on the advertising aspect of this. But obviously the potential acquisition of TikTok by any number of kind of big retail or software giants out there. The latest is Walmart getting in the game, and the kind of big question initially was, well, what's their play here, right? This obviously isn't a direct retail play, but right, the Wall Street Journal and subsequently, right, a bunch of other outlets were seeing this as specifically an advertising play for Walmart, and the idea really is that, right, TikTok, it's got 100 million users, obviously a very loyal user base, and right, they have the opportunity, right, to take all sorts of data and put this in. So there's obviously a lot of potential here. I guess panel, feel free to elaborate a little bit.
Yeah, I'll jump on this one. So kind of like what you alluded to, that customer base, it's so large with 100 million users, and also the age and the demographic of that base is going to be a pretty unique opportunity for Walmart as they're trying to compete with, Amazon, for example, as we talk about, going into Q4 especially. TikTok is definitely in the early stages of ad space. It's pretty limited right now, but it definitely lacks that data that could be related to purchasing, like we see on Instagram, for example, like a shop now and having storefronts there. So that definitely positions Walmart to have a unique opportunity to actually pair both the 100 million users, their data, alongside purchasing data that's quickly expanding, as they grow year over year. So that combination actually really tees them up for advertising. So, what kind of advertising are we looking at? That's going to, definitely play out in the next couple of months. But a few questions come to mind in that sense. Will, Amazon use that solely just for their seller base, that ad real estate, that positioning, or will it actually expand it to other merchants? Also, how will TikTok users perceive that as more and more ads are appearing there, just because it's so early in the ad space right now. So just kind of a few quick questions that pop up in my mind. But they're actually in a great position to ramp up DSP and programmatic advertising like we've actually seen on the Amazon side. Amazon actually recently opened up their DSP self-serve platform, which has really increased adoption and has made it so much more accessible. So this actually might be teeing up Walmart as well if they decide to go that direction with their advertising. So Amazon is almost helping Walmart there in that sense. But could this actually help more adoption with Walmart.com? We kind of talked about the Walmart Plus and drawing more customers in that way to have it actually compete around grocery. So kind of curious what they do with the ad side there. And also an opportunity around TikTok is, could they also have virtual storefronts similar to what we're seeing on other social media platforms? So how will they evolve with this over time? So definitely a lot of opportunities. So really curious what direction they go if it is on the programmatic side.
Great, and yeah, I know there's so much potential here, because when you think about all the things that Walmart's doing, right? We talked about Walmart Plus, and is that going to be a play here over time where they incorporate this? I mean, when you think about, there were some questions, I think, early on when you saw Instagram really go full throttle on their advertising play, and whether that was okay, was it going to distract from the experience, et cetera? And the answer is that they did a very good job about kind of incorporating it and making it pretty immersive, and in a way that felt right for the platform. So you'd obviously have to do something else here. So I mean, it's going to require a lot of work. But it's something, right, where obviously Walmart has the capital and definitely the desire to do something here. And I don't know if anyone else wanted to add stuff around here, but definitely just a lot of things to watch here. It's just, this one's definitely obviously still very much up in the air. Like, who knows if this will even happen? There's still a lot of talk around, well, whether the algorithm of TikTok will even be included in the sale, and if it's not, obviously that's a big issue for any potential acquirer. So a lot of room for things to change here, but definitely worth keeping an eye on. So finally, we're going to talk about, this was, again, something that we'd gotten questions around this in some prior webinars, because this has been an upcoming change for a while, which is iOS 14, and one thing Apple's doing, which has Facebook's probably been the loudest protest here, which is eliminating the unique device identifier as part of kind of cross-app ad targeting, which Facebook, that's kind of their bread and butter in terms of using what's called the Facebook Audience Network to essentially take ads and show them within apps that are not Facebook, typically games, etc. Publishers have obviously kind of put up a fuss here. Facebook is, as well. Kind of thinking about this in the larger context of how maybe sellers should think about this in the context of advertising outside of maybe Amazon, et cetera. What does the panel kind of think about this?
Yeah, I think it's interesting to see initial reactions. A lot are knee-jerk, and I would like to hope overreactions in a lot of instances. They did reference the anti-tracking features on Safari Web that were rolled out a few years back, and they mentioned that resulted in a decline of 60% in ad spend invested due to that rollout, where there were more privacy measures on Safari itself. I was in Google advertising paid search at the time, and I remember thinking the sky was going to fall down when this first rolled out, and there was actually fairly minimal impact to advertisers themselves. So balancing kind of the initial reactions from Facebook and some web developers or app developers and things like that with what this actually means. But for consumers, this is an opt-in approach. Now, iOS 14 users will be prompted whether or not they want to share that data, which is great. It's not an opt-out. It's not kind of that workaround. They're more aware of where their data is going, which I think is important in this day and age, is we share it more than we think we know. And so it does come with greater privacy. For advertisers, it does limit the ability to target audiences based on current data recorded through the IDFA, which is the identifier for advertisers, which is unique for each device. So that in-app jump is really not going to happen for audience information. Particularly balancing this with Facebook being one of the loudest members here, and the amount of data that Facebook has within their own app based on your profile and the things that you share and interact with. It's amusing to me that they're the loudest one, because they still have so much data to advertise based on. But I think one of the biggest things here is Facebook's reaction is based on the fact that Apple will still have that data. So it's more of the anti-competition that Apple is eliminating Facebook from having that data that they are still able to maintain, because they own, the device is theirs, the operating system is theirs, the apps are inevitably all theirs. Some of the initial con reactions, advertisers are saying, well, if we can't monetize or optimize ads, cross app, then, is there a point in advertising on these? Is there a point in even developing some of these apps? And that seems like a potential overreaction at this point. We'll always see down the road the impact that it has. Another potential is, if it doesn't make sense to advertise, just some of those free services like news go away. If they can't monetize advertising on that app, do we still have access to free news, and what does that mean, for society and people wanting to consume that information. So, trying to balance, what we've seen and how we've reacted in the past to what this could mean. I'm hoping this is an overreaction in some instances, but I definitely think that there is going to be an impact on privacy for the consumer, and a significant impact for advertisers. We're always caught in those crosshairs as advertisers, as both a consumer and an advertiser, of what is the greater benefit here. But providing that opportunity to opt in and knowing where your data is going and how often that's happening is going to be a really critical piece moving forward. And particularly with Facebook, Apple was already rolling back some of the options and leeway they were allowing Facebook to have due to other privacy concerns that we need not bring up now. But there were some changes already happening for Facebook, and it's interesting that Apple kind of rolled this out for all apps.
Yeah, and very interesting watch. Ryan, I don't know if you have, having come from the Criteo world, where obviously this is, a little, in your past life. What are your thoughts here?
I think, and Laura's spot on with everything. I think like where I see this going is advertisers that have access to customer data directly and also own media platforms. Walmart buying TikTok is a good example of this type of move, are going to be the winners from something like this, when they don't need to rely on a network or another provider's technology to serve the ad, and they can just work with the brand directly to take advertising dollars and serve the ad to sell products on their own platform. Those are going to be the players that win with changes like this.
Yeah, it's this is definitely one where there's definitely winners and losers to this one. So yeah, I mean, great point on how this connects to the TikTok news. So with that, I think we're going to start wrapping up. I'd say one thing I just want to call out. This is a great piece, and I'll send this along as part of the replay here. Our data science team actually studied how your expected conversion rate changes based on the price of your item, and looked across multiple years of data for this. And really also, when you look at even different price bands, how elastic is that conversion rate? How much within certain price bands, let's say, are conversion rates different? And there's some really, really cool findings here that can kind of inform, as you're thinking about your pricing strategy, what you should expect really, and really what your goals should be. So I'll send this study along again as part of the replay, and you should check it out. It's really terrific. And with that, I think we're all set, and we will catch you hopefully next time around. Definitely keep an eye out for a webinar we'll be doing next week with Kyle Barron around value per click. It's going to be a really, really interesting one, especially for those looking to really both get efficiency while still growing their business. It's going to have some great insights there. So with that, I think we're going to wrap up, and thanks again to all our panelists and everyone else here joining the call. Talk to you soon.